G'day YouTube, how's everyone going out there? Just finishing work. No rain today, which has been good, so on my way home. And welcome to the channel. This channel we look at all things related to stress and anxiety, particular men's health, and how to navigate your way through that issue with all of the information that's out there. And I more or less talk about my journey through stress and anxiety, how I dealt with it, and how I put it back in chains. And hopefully this will reach someone. So if you like this, please like and subscribe and share it. I mean, I forget to say that a lot. I mean, because I'm just hoping this finds someone so I can help someone that may be suffering from, you know, like high levels of stress, anxiety, i.e. a mental health issue, and not sure or unwilling to reach out for help or to ask for help for a variety of reasons. And this might be sort of a shortcut a shortcut or a cheat sheet in a sense, depending on your severity of stress and anxiety. You may need to see a doctor, and I'm not a doctor. It's just from my experience and what the lessons I learned and the mistakes I made throughout that journey in the past. But today's video is based on a little bit of well, I guess it's based on a bit of I've got a bit of inspiration from a person I actually taught yesterday, and as what happens on most occasions when you're doing one-on-one training, people sort of open up after a period of time and then start to chat about their life and their life's journey and their journey through life. It's a little bit out of whack today. It's moving around a bit today. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, so this guy sort of inspired me to make this video, and it's based on his story, without naming names of course, and his issue with today's topic, in his words, a shitty job, or obviously a job that is low in income, and his experience with stress, and I guess how he copes with it, which is not ideal, and most blokes will be the same. They'll go for, you know, obviously self-medication through alcohol, cigarettes, or other types of drugs. So, and that includes caffeine, energy drinks to get motivation, to get up for it. And I cover those things in these videos as well, and why you should be, you know, more or less limiting energy drinks and caffeine and alcohol, and obviously trying to give up cigarettes if you are a cigarette smoker. And the thing I like to say is there's no quick fix, and you certainly don't want to get on medication, something that I refuse to do, and I've had friends that have gone on it and regretted that. And that's one thing you want to try and avoid if that's possible. But it's not a quick fix. It's a holistic thing. You'll hear that word being thrown around by health professionals. I go, oh, it's holistic. I got sick of hearing that at first, but when the penny dropped, I started to understand it is. And you've got to really do an audit on your lifestyle and the things you're doing and the things you're consuming in order to see results. You won't get results in the first weeks, or maybe in the first months. It just takes time to chip away at it. And I guess that's why most people give up, throw it in the too hard basket, hey, like this fella did in his situation regarding his job and how that job affected his mental health. And that, you know, lots of people around the world and Australia are going through that at the moment. They're doing jobs that are not ideal, jobs that they're really not interested in, and they're just doing it for a paycheck, a pay packet. And even that can be problematic in itself, the old pay packet. If you're doing a job that doesn't require a certain skill level, it's going to be usually, in most cases, low pay, maybe casual, which I talked about in the last video. So if you haven't seen the last video, look at that, my take on that, my spin on casualisation in the workforce, and how you need to get out of that situation and level up, i.e., get a higher skill set, higher skills, more skills in your bag of tricks, so you can obviously earn higher income. I know that's not a quick fix, and you can't do that overnight, but that's the reason this fella ended up on a training course with me yesterday, because he'd had enough. He was burnt out, he was strung out, he got sick of the low pay, the lack of hours one week and then too many the next, taking all the overtime he could when it was offered to him, because he didn't know when the next decent sized pay packet would come in. He was working around the construction industry and working in traffic control. And traffic control here in Australia, some people can do very well out of it. You hear the stories, while others struggle for hours. If you want to do the research on the actual pay scale, you need to do it yourself. You can just hit the internet and you'll find what they're paying in different states. And a lot of it was weekend work in order to make the additional money. Get your pay increases on the weekend, or penalty rates we call them here. But it wasn't constant. And in his case, because I know all companies do it differently, and he never told me the company, and I don't want to know. I just want to know, briefly listen to him, what he had to say. But it wasn't consistent. He'd go days without work and then suddenly do 7 days straight. He knew what it was. He got caught in that system, which most people do. And then out of desperation, which is usually the case when desperation hits in and you suffer from, other issues related to that, like stress, stress-related issues, you'll go searching for answers. And most people are the same until they hit the wall, hit hard times. They usually, in most cases for men, not all, are slack about things, and they do it as a result of desperation, or their wife, or their girlfriend, or their obligations to kids, when they really, really have to do it. And that's a big percentage. Research shows that people won't move on things until they really, really have to. And that in itself is a problem, and that needs to be looked at and needs to be addressed. When being ahead of they used to call it being ahead of the crowd in my day. You got to be ahead of the crowd to get to do better, get that better pay packet, and that includes all areas of life, and sport as well. So be ahead of the crowd. That means leveling up. They coin that these days, leveling up, and it's something that I had to go through when I went through hard times. Because remember, you go through your good times, but too many good times then create hard times if you're not on top of it. And I went through that. And when I talk about my actual journey in oncoming videos, when I actually get into when I hit the wall, I'll talk about the good times, bad times, and how I had to level up out of necessity. And that's what most people do. They've got to level up out of necessity because they're doing a shitty job, crappy job, and you're over it, you're over the pay packet. And this is what these jobs do, and people who are doing these jobs know this. Shitty jobs, or also known as crappy jobs, put you into stress because they're low paid usually. You never have enough money to pay the rent, especially these days, 2025. Really tough for people in these positions because they got the energy prices have gone up, electricity, food prices, rent prices. And then it's the wages don't keep up with the cost of living. So, they're in a cycle that they can't get out of. And, as a result, these mental health issues start to kick in. And these people may never have had these issues. Younger people, may never had them. And then suddenly they've got these problems as a result of these shitty jobs. And and the finances. So that's the first problem. Shitty jobs will affect your ability to buy stuff or buy shit, you know, and pay shit off, just to keep it quite blunt and to the point. So that's the first usual issue that most people face. And then you got the other issues of burnout. That's another one. Look, I'm just taking these off the top of my head. Burnout's another one. When you got a lot of work in front of you, like a 6 week period, and you got a heap of hours, and the salary is good, but you're working 6-7 days a week for the next 4 weeks or 6 weeks, for example. And this is how these jobs usually play out. And then you're open to burnout, because you're at work all the time. You try and get home. You got to make meals, prepare meals, unless you can afford to buy it. That's the problem. Shitty jobs, you can't afford to buy meals out all the time for lunch and that. So you got to make your own stuff, get home, and do the same thing. And a lot of people say, well, you just got to toughen up. I did that in the past. Yeah, I did. I get that. But I want to be positive on this. I want to be positive. I know I'm bringing up the negative aspects of shitty jobs, and it's just factually true. That's what they are. And you've got to implement strategies to help yourself out. And you've got to do the research. You know, you've got to not put up the victim flag, and you've got to implement some type of strategy to reduce not only stress and anxiety, but also an escape plan. You got to have a plan, and then you got to be able to execute it when you're ready to execute that, to get out of that situation. I know it's not easy for a lot of people, but I've been in the same position. It takes time, but you got to make strides. You got to make progress, and you got to put that plan into action. So burnout, a big one. When you're under the pump, you got to work those hours. That's the second one I can think of. And then you got the others that flow onto that. When you don't have enough money to go out with your mates, your friends, your girlfriends, because you're counting your dollars, and that can fracture relationships, especially if you're in a new relationship with a new partner. You don't have enough money to go out, and you know they got the money and you don't, and then you don't want to be seen that you're sort of leaning on them to pay out. And if you're male, there's no way you want to be doing that. You know, like leeching off a female. So that's another issue. You know, it breaks up. You know, it puts cracks between relationships, be those close ones or old friendships where you can't go out and join your mates in having a good time. So that's another one that's an issue. So it sort of socially isolates you from from the people I've just mentioned. So there's just a few that I can think of in relation to these types of jobs. And this particular fella, going back to him, he realised that. And I want to end up in on a good note here, because you've got to find solutions. So I'm going to get back to him and why he inspired me to do this. You know, he realised that, so he ended up on this training program in order to, get ahead of the crowd. I like that instead of leveling up, but these days I'll say leveling up, getting more qualifications. So it makes it easier to jump into a better paying job. And again, you've got to do the research. You've got to look what's out there. You got the computer. You got your smartphone. You got to look at what's trending. What is easier to get into? Because you're not going to say, I'm going to go to university. I'm going to do 3 years of TAFE if you're financially in a hole. That's just not going to work. So you got to look at other options, shorter courses, day courses, week courses, in order to get something that's going to pay a little bit more, maybe a little bit more stable in the work hours, to get you out of that hole. So this is what this guy was doing. The good thing, he's got through his course, and hopefully there'll be better days, sunnier days ahead for that particular fella. Anyway, I'm going to shut it down there. I hope that's gives you something to think about. Why crappy jobs, I should say. I don't edit this stuff, guys. It's just on the go as I go home. I don't edit it. I do work. Crappy, shitty jobs. Long term, that is, even maybe for the short term for a lot of people, will bring on stress and anxiety. And you need a plan. You need to execute it and run with it in order to get out of that situation or you're digging yourself into a mental health hole for many people. And again, like I say, you don't put the victim flag up. You got to go for it and find avenues to get out of that. Anyway, enough's enough. I hope that resonates with someone. It helps someone to think. That's what this is about. It's just providing a bit of information based on my experience and the experience of people that I meet, because I meet so many people, because I teach a lot of people, and a lot of people are doing it tough these days, and they feel a bit lost trying to get out of their situation. And so maybe this may inspire someone out there. Anyway, until next time, be cool, try to get your headspace in a good place, and until the next video, please like, please share, peace out.